Well, good evening, race fans. We are coming at you live for the Sigma ARCA Series tonight here at Watkins Glen. Full 63 laps, so this will be a little bit longer for these ARCA drivers, but it'll give them truly a good shakedown on road course and learning how to run them and whatnot. So it's going to be an interesting race here tonight. Starting on the front row, you've got Casey Klein alongside Trevor Vaden. Two very top tier names in this ARCA series looking to rack up some wins here today. You got Chris K. Green and James Gunner. Currently top third in the points, Ralph Oberstadt alongside Matthew Hubert. Wyatt Wilkinson and Chris Mozzie. Joseph Hayes and Ham Bergerson. Rand Kataz and Zach Magoon. Craig Bush and Skylar Taylor. Kaylee Sheets and Jaden Anderson, Chase Kovacic and Adam Cruz, Evan Snake and Bailey Parker, Finley Herwig and Jakov Rosovich, Joe Hill and Donovan Heist, Mark Shelton and B. Roy, Alan Chavot and Ace Blake, Jonah Burridge and Hank Scorpio, Eli the Wolf and Alex Sanvital, Gustavo and Jameson Thole, Craig Popgris, Sly Ojima, with William Kinsella Jr. and Matias Nunez rounding out the field here.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
It's been a while since we've seen Casey Klein on the pole. He gets another pole to his name here in the Sigma ARCA series. He is yet to convert that over to a win. He's shown some speed. Oh, we've got someone with a mechanical failure already off the start here. That was Bailey Parker in the number 4 car. Flat tire. Flat tire for him and the number 10 right off the start of the race here. So a couple drivers upset in the apple cart for a few of the others, as it is no cautions in the Sigma series on road courses unless having to manually throw one. Off to the early lead, it's Trevor Vaden with a good push from James Gunner. This actually works pretty perfectly for the Sigma ARCA series to have 1 week off after this race here tonight, this being one of their longer races that they will see on the schedule. And the points battle very tight here in the ARCA series. We've seen a lot of ebb and flow with who's taking the points lead and who falls back. Currently, Chase Kovacic owns the lead by 1 point over Ace Blake. What's admirable about that is the fact that Chase Kovacic leads the points with 0 wins. Ace Blake in second has gotten 2 wins, and he even missed the first 2 starts of the season. So he's climbed exponentially up the point standings to sit second overall. Ralph Oberstadt has missed 1 race. However, he has 1 win, sits third in the points. Wyatt Wilkinson, 1 win, sits fourth. And then Skylar Taylor, she has managed to consistently finish top 5, top 10 to earn her way up into the top 5 in the points. Trevor Vaden, who currently leads the way right now, sits 6th in the points. And Vaden could be a double threat for championships that are on the line, as he currently fights his teammate for the truck championship. If he can keep things interesting here in ARCA, we could be looking at a 2-time champion across 2 different rungs of the ladder. LFG Motorsports, definitely the sleeping giant in the room. And you don't want to wake up that team because they could go on a tear and win multiple races across their entire team. You look at Trevor Vaden leading the way right now. Don't have to look too much further back to find one of his teammates, the 19 of Wyatt Wilkinson, who's currently sitting in 6th right there. Wilkinson could go on a tear and accumulate some more wins. Craig Bush has gotten a win for LFG Motorsports. Honestly, LFG has really spread the wealth around amongst its team drivers, as they've seen 3 different wins with 3 different drivers. And they have a 4-car team, so their 4th driver being that of Matias Nunez. Apparently, Nunez just ain't getting the job done, as he sits 35th in the points out of 38 positions total. So, can't imagine has anything to do with the equipment under him. There might be something deeper to that whole storyline there. Looking like Ralph Oberstadt might be trying to compete for 3rd place here. Actually, your top 4 kind of getting out of sorts here, as you got a few drivers shuffling around trying to make a move. Ralph Oberstadt looks like he might make a move here going down the long front stretch here at Watkins Glen. He holds off for now. Casey Klein holds on to 3rd place. Trevor Vaden has not failed to lead a lap yet here today. He's led each one of the 7 laps to begin this race. Bailey Parker had a flat tire and had to get a tow truck, and currently runs dead last 1 lap down. That car kind of running a little bit on the underpowered side there. Not the day that he had forecasted. Then you got Matias Nunez here in 37th. Jamison Thole, Sly Ojima, Alex Sanvital, Jonah Burridge, Alan Chavot, Mark Shelton, Joe Hill, William Kinsella Jr., Rossovich, which we've seen him win a race this season so far, Craig Popkris, Gustavo, Eli the Wolf, Hank Scorpio, B-Roy, Ace Blake running mid-pack currently in 22nd, Donovan Heist, Evan Snake, Finley Herwig, Chase Kovacic gonna have to kick it into overdrive here if he wants to minimize points lost in the battle. Currently your points leader with 0 wins, but his competition, well, actually Ace Blake having a rough day. Ace Blake's behind him, so he's going to be able to stretch his gap on Ace Blake. However, the likes of Wyatt Wilkinson and Trevor Vaden looking like they're going to gain some points here today. See, that is what is most intriguing with the Sigma ARCA series is 1 week we will see kind of one cast of characters running at the front of the field, and then the next week that cast of characters gets sent to the back, struggle all day, and you see a different, basically your B squad running at the front of the field. And what this has allowed is for some very exciting tight points battle from everyone this year involved. I mean, we've got about 5 cars all within 30 points of each other, which is impressive, especially in a 38 car field. And the fact that Kovacic leads the points without a win, that's hard to do. And it speaks monuments of the skill put down by the one and only Chase Kovacic. Yeah, so let's see. Top 10 separated by 48 points. Of your top 10 today, first and second are struggling a little bit. Ralph Oberstadt seems to be doing all right. So Oberstadt would hopscotch over Ace Blake and Kovacic to take the points lead if it were to end right now. Wyatt Wilkinson would jump up to about second. Skylar Taylor, let's see where she's running. She's usually pretty solid. Yeah, she's just a couple spots there in front of Craig Bush. So she would still maintain a top 5 in the points. However, Trevor Vaden would jump past her in the standings. Trevor Vaden sits 6th right now. He would catapult himself up into a top 3 position. Craig Bush, Casey Klein, Eli the Wolf, Mark Shelton. So even, let's see where Mark Shelton currently sits. Mark Shelton's a little bit deeper in the field, 31st overall, so it's going to be a little bit harder for him to gain points in that top 10 fight that he's sitting right now. James Gunner, the 32 car that's running in second place there, he's up to 14th in the points. And with another good finish today, he could work himself up into the top 10. pit strategy is going to make things very interesting around here today. Likely going to be about a 2 pit stop race for most of them involved. We did see in the truck race last night where pit strategy actually won the race. And Noah Hobson was able to stay out the entire race without making a pit stop and stretched his fuel load just as far as he could as he ran out of gas coming across the backside of the track at Portland last night after collecting the checkered flag. So perhaps, maybe, just maybe, we could see some more fuel mileage strategies play out here today at Watkins Glen for these ARCA drivers. Well, it looks like Ralph Oberstadt finally executed a pass there on Casey Klein. So that bumps Casey Klein back to 4th. Ralph Oberstadt up to 3rd. Well, not a whole lot has happened so far. It looks like our lead 6 starting to make a breakaway from the rest of the field a little bit. Let's do some reconnaissance here and see exactly when we could expect some pit stops. Saying the window is 41 laps, so we should see for certain at least one pit stop here today. Unlike the truck race where we only saw a couple drivers take one pit stop. And now the impressive part will be seeing who takes the undercut, who takes the overcut. I can imagine the likes of a Wyatt Wilkinson who sits in 6th with nothing to lose. You might see him pull down pit road first amongst your lead 6 so that he can take full advantage of fresher tires before everyone else does. And if he is able to execute like that, he could kind of jump his way up the running order. But how early do you want to pit? You could pit right now. You would pretty much make it the rest of the race. It had to be close. You'd still got to give it about 5 more laps, actually, as you're on lap 20 of 63. And the window is 41 laps, so gotta imagine they're not likely going to be any cautions here today unless we have a big tumble. And so far all the drivers driving nice and clean, keeping their wheels straight. All 38 cars still running. Looks like Ralph Oberstadt with a little bit more speed there in 3rd could potentially take the challenge to the 32 of James Gunner. He's trying to break the draft or at least contradict the draft of the 32 in front of him. We'll see if he's able to make it pay off here. Gonna have a nice, good long run here. A chance to try and jump the 32. Gonna stay behind him for now. One key note about our top two right now is they have been marquee drivers in the truck series this year as well. You look on the western side, Trevor Vaden has been dominant, has won 4 of the 9 races for Trevor Ventures, and currently races for LFG Motorsports here in the ARCA series. James Gunner, on the other hand, has a pair of wins on the Eastern Division, sits top 3 in the points, and also very much a threat to fight for the overall championship on the line. So it's kind of intriguing once you see that also transpire in the ARCA series here. We know that we've got 2 top tier drivers racing at the front of the field. And there's a good chance that these guys won't be here for long. Our ARCA series acts as the true ladder up into the Bridge to Cup series. So we could be looking at our next class of BTC drivers right here between Trevor Vaden, James Gunner, and even Ralph Oberstadt. Our truck series kind of is a catch-all, and there's no regulations, no restrictions for drivers racing in it and other multiple series. So with the inception of ARCA, that has allowed for us to make it the first true A on the step of the ladder, with B being Bridge to Cup and C being Cup. And everyone is still eligible to go race the truck series, even though the overall truck championship probably lies somewhere between ARCA and Busch. ARCA and Bridge to Cup, that is. But this really gives these guys, it's the, I guess, for a better way of explaining it, the stock car ladder, since trucks are on a ladder all of its own, because the skill set involved with trucks doesn't really translate over to the Cup side of things. This ARCA series, you can imagine what they learn here should definitely help them succeed in Bridge to Cup. And with Bridge to Cup, if they can succeed there, they are on clear-cut path to the Cup series. So far for the first 27 laps of this race, it's all been Trevor Vaden so far. We have become accustomed to seeing this dominance from Trevor Vaden. But he ain't getting away from the rest of the drivers here in the top 6. He could still lose some spots on pit stops and other strategy calls here today. So far, fastest lap belongs to Casey Klein, who's running in 4th. Trevor Vaden, his fast lap is good enough for 4th quickest, as 2nd quickest actually was Ralph Oberstadt. So Oberstadt looking solid. 6 of Matthew Hubert, 3rd fastest. Looking further past the top 6, you've got Matthew Hubert in 7th, Hamburgerson in 8th, Rand Kataz, who just recently won a couple weeks ago in this ARCA series, with Joseph Hayes and a whole bunch of them coming down pit road on the undercut. This is the early stop, and it looks like your leader, part of the early stop crew here. Vaden doesn't want to give up any track time. He wants to get down pit road, get fresh tires as soon as he possibly can. This will be the one pit stop that they need to make it to the finish, as this would put him at about 34 laps on the second half of the race for him. So that gives the lead over to James Gunner for now, with Ralph Oberstadt in second. It didn't take very long at all, as now the rest of your leaders coming down pit road the second lap around. Not certain if they can make it to the finish with their... Wow, Kovacic making a bold move. Ace Blake making a bold move. They're going to try to take the long road here. Maybe they've been able to save just a little bit more fuel. They could cut it right down the middle on lap 31, which would put them all the way to lap 62 with their mid-race cut here. Gotta love seeing these alternate strategies popping up out of nowhere. These are drivers that could sneak something out here if they get the right call. Trevor Vaden eventually is going to return to the lead here, but not until Chase Kovacic and Ace Blake finish up this long cut strategy. Chase Kovacic looking like he's going to execute coming down pit road. We'll see if his pit stall is on the north or in northern or southern side of the start finish line, if he's going to be credited with a lead lap here. And he is. So that's precious points for Kovacic, getting a lead lap here at Watkins Glen today. Imagine he's going to take 4 tires. This is going to eat up a lot of the advantage that he got from pitting later here. As you see, Trevor Vaden and the rest of the field now charging down the front straight. Kovacic could still come out with a decent top 15. It's looking close. Slow as pit road. I think 13th, 14th just made it by. 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. Might be about 18th for him. But you got to admire the strategy call there to try and get off the dominant strategy and potentially put yourself in a better scenario to get the win here today. Going to be Vaden back in the lead. James Gunner, Ralph Oberstadt, Casey Klein, Chris K. Green, Wyatt Wilkinson, Matthew Hubert, Hamburgerson, Rand Kataz, Joseph Hayes, Skylar Taylor, Chris Mozzie, Zach Magoon, Craig Bush, Kaylee Sheets, Jaden Anderson, Hank Scorpio, William Kinsella Jr., Adam Cruz, Finley Herwig, Donovan Heist, and Chase Kovacic will settle into 22nd here. But we'll see if he's going to have an advantage with those fresher tires as to if he can make some space up on the leader. Ooh, there's a move being made here. Chris Kagreen wants to go up against Casey Klein for position. It's one KK up against another KK. And Chris Kagreen gets Casey Klein there. Casey Klein must be having some troubles in that one car. As you see, he's dropping like a rock. He's lost 4 spots already. I don't know what's going on there for the one team. Hamburgerson gets by. Kataz about to get by him. That's going to put Klein back to 9th. Bit of a struggle here for our pole sitter of the race. And now we've gotten past the halfway point here tonight. Alternating strategies is going to make this one somewhat interesting. But I fear for the rest of the field that Trevor Vaden might just be a bit too much for anyone else to chew off here. Man, Casey Klein still dropping. I don't know if there's maybe something wrong. He just turned a 112.283. And under attack here by Skylar Taylor. She's going to get by Casey Klein as well. Looking back a little bit further, Chris K-Green might be under attack here by Wyatt Wilkinson. I don't know what it is with our ARCA series having initial drivers with the same first and same last initial, as KK is under attack by WW. Wow, Casey Klein has fallen so far off the pace here that he must have had to make a pit stop there. It looks like he did. He had to pit, get some fresh tires, and maybe that'll fix it. But gone from your pole sitter to nearly dead last here today. And now going to be fending off, going a lap down as Trevor Vaden catching up to him. What a bummer deal for the one camp. The good news is, taking the pit stop for fresh tires seems to have fixed the problem as he's turning competitive laps yet again. Must have been a flat tire that went mostly unnoticed until they came back down pit road. It's really impressive that we haven't seen any wrecks, any craziness so far. These guys running at 100% and still not making any mistakes. They often spread out going down that segment of the track, but they don't make a move. It is kind of fun to watch as they kind of break the draft and get spread out a little bit. This ARCA series next year, we're going to allow a little bit more freedom of manufacture. The primary goal that we had set forth with was to make it so that this was like all the old retired chassis from yesteryear racing in this ARCA series. So it just so happened to span the Pontiac GTO craze in the series. Everything's still going to be spec though, so your engines are all going to be even, but it's going to be, we're going to allow for manufacturers to still have some distinct separation. And by distinct, I mean very, very minor, intricate details here and there. But the engines are all going to be pretty much the same. You might see some aerodynamic cues. There might be some aerodynamic points for one manufacturer to the other. Reliability might be a factor as well. The speed and the engines, though, are going to be all on a set, kind of like a spec engine for the most part. In this ARCA series, we want to give a true racer's racing ability to let that shine over the price of the motor that's in the car. Now that ain't going to change anything with our Bridge to Cup, our trucks, or our Cup series for that, because they're still going to have some more extreme distinctions to allow for more growth from the manufacturer itself. Like we've seen this year in the Cup Series, how Jaguar has kind of came out of nowhere And Jaguar looking like they could even take the manufacturer championship if they had a larger field allowed in the system. Per the rules, they're only allowed 2 entries this year as they are part of the experimental manufacturer department. But based on stats and how crazy things have been here in 2024, I expect to see a bunch of Jaguar teams pop up in 2025 for our Cup Series. Not a whole lot of drama at the front of the field, as it's still been Trevor Vaden dominantly leading the way here today. James Gunner in second, Ralph Oberstadt in third. This could really shake up that point standings yet again. Oh, another taker down pit road here. Matthew Hubert. That's got to be an unscheduled, unexpected pit stop from him. We'll see if any others have to make a pit stop here. But Chase Kovacic should be pretty much safely able to make the rest of this race without a pit stop, as we're down to just 21 laps to go here today. With just 20 laps to go here tonight at Watkins Glen, likely is going to come down to at least one more round of strategic pit stops. Not sure who's all going to pit, but based on when everyone made their pit stop, Chase Kovacic might very well be the only driver that can make it to the finish without having to most certainly stop one more time. Our leaders, you got to figure they're burning just a little bit more fuel running up the front of the field, running faster laps. That's often the way things work out as to why fuel mileage falls apart for your leaders, is because they're out front setting the pace, going faster than they should, and burning more gas. Vaden definitely had to pit amongst the early crowd to get the undercut. And of course, the advantage of that was that he was able to get back out, turn laps, and continue to keep putting down fast laps before other people could. So it's just a matter of time before we see if this pays off or if he's going to have to come back down pit road for burning too much gas out here front and center, leading it all. Top three still remain unchanged, 4th and 5th in tow. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and currently 10th belongs to Chris Mozzie, which is An impressive run for him. If we go further back in the field here, Kovacic sits in 20th. He can still pick off about 5 more cars under pace here. As you see, going low on the 25 of Donovan Heist, does not execute for the full takeover. As we know, Ace Blake and Chase Kovacic both had stayed out the longest in the initial round of green flag pit stops. And we know that they can go a little bit further than some of the other drivers that pitted earlier. Oh, wow. Okay, so the fuel strategy game is very well alive tonight as Ralph Oberstadt from third place is not able to stretch it the rest of the way. Him and Skylar Taylor both having to come down pit road here on lap 46. What was impressive was Ace Blake and Chase Kovacic both stretched it to lap 31, which, if they're able to, can make it all the way to lap 62 without pitting. It's going to be tight. They're going to have at least one opportunity for a quick gas and go at the end of the race. Man, our road course crazies are getting crazy here. Last night at Portland, we saw a fuel mileage race earn a victory for Noah Hobson, who had not won yet this season, as it's been dominated by the Trevors. We're going to have to see who else has to make no one else this lap around, as Alex Sanvital rejoins the track here after making his pit stop. Trapped a lap down. Numerous drivers there coming out, rejoining the track laps down. But it's Trevor Vaden and James Gunner leading the way. How crazy would that be if Trevor Vaden ends up in yet another fuel mileage race? Might have to make an adage, our own popular adage here. It's not always great to be fast, because if you're fast, you're going to run out of gas. Sometimes slow and steady wins the race, and I'm thinking I can smell an upset here brewing. Wow, wait one moment. Chase Kovacic was not able to stretch it all the way to the finish. He had to pit on this lap, which kind of ruins the whole storyline here. Did not get as much gas mileage on this round as he did in the first round. So now our sight's set to Ace Blake, who could potentially still stretch it to lap 62, but we'll see. What's truly aggravating is seeing a strategy materialize and the drivers failing to execute properly. Did he at least go in for a gas and go rather than take tires? No, he took 4 tires. That's the kiss of death for Kovacic there. Don't know how they missed it, how they missed the ship so much there. Ace Blake still out there running, flying the Pride paint scheme for the month of June here. And now the true moment of truth will be if Trevor Vaden can make it to the rest of the way without having to pit. Oh, wow, the 21's having to pit again. So there's a couple drivers that are just having unexpected flops here late in the race. Casey Klein looks like maybe he blew her up. Mechanical failure. He blew it up. Engine damage 93% to that number 1. So a couple of these drivers struggling here. Gotta imagine these ARCA cars not exactly used to running road courses like this, so it's more of an endeavor for these teams to bring a competitive rig to the race and avoid having mechanical flops like that. We know that Casey Klein was fast enough. He set it on the pole, just unfortunately blew it up here today. Now we're down to just 13 laps to go here. Trevor Vaden still leads the way. Oh, he's going to get run over by the 62 nearly. Did not get too dirty there, but 62 wants to get by this 18 ASAP and try to stay within the mix here today for a top 20 finish. That 18 lap times are dropping off exponentially as he's going to have to pit more than likely in the closing laps here. James Gunner still in second. Chris Kagreen in third. Chris Kagreen for Al Bunch Incorporated with a solid third place run here so far. Wyatt Wilkinson in the top 5 for LFG Motorsports. And Ham Bergerson quietly working his way up into the top 5. Joseph Hayes with the 7th so far. Craig Bush in 8th. Zach Magoon 9th. And give a slow clap for Chris Mozzie, who's just constantly kept it in the top 15, now in the top 10 here today. Oh, and now we've got a whole slew of them coming down pit road here. Ace Blake still amongst the drivers that can make it to the finish here with a possibly just a gas and go. Trevor Vaden on pit road. Okay, so this is for all the marbles. Is Ace Blake going to be able to stretch it? He's got 11 laps to work with here, as the leader has already pitted. We know that Ace Blake was able to make it 31 laps on the first stint. So if anything, he should be able to stretch it another 8 laps at least. Craig Bush, Ham Bergerson, Chris Kagreen coming down pit road. Now Ham Bergerson, Rand Kataz, Craig Bush, Finley Herwig next in line here. And there you have it. Ace Blake is likely going to jump to the lead here. It's going to take him a lap to jump all the traffic that's on pit road right now. But this could get interesting. And now we'll have to see if Ace Blake does go down pit road here, if he's just going to make it a quick gas and go. This late towards the end of the race, if he can make it just a gas and go, this could give him a huge boost in the running order here. Just a gas and go. Nope, he's taken tires. So this was not the winning strategy. Just takes two, which is still huge, as he's going to get off pit road here pretty quickly, and he could be back up into the top 10. 2 tires with about 9 laps to go here. 16th, Kovacic in 17th, Craig Bush in 18th. Ace Blake's going to come out about 21st, so about where he was running prior to the pit stops. Kovacic with the undercut actually been able to run a little bit faster laps and make up some spots here. Wow, Chris Kagreen unfortunately loses a lot of spots for staying out as late as he did. Wyatt Wilkinson rejoins the racetrack after making his pit stop. He'll be in about 8th or 9th. Actually, maybe better than that, because a lot of drivers now have sorted things out. Vaden leads, Gunner in 2nd, Taylor in 3rd, Matthew Hubert in 4th, Wyatt Wilkinson in 5th, Chris Kagreen in 6th, Jaden Anderson 7th, Joseph Hayes 8th, Hamburgerson 9th, Rand Kataz 10th, Adam Cruz, Kovacic all the way up to 12th. So huge turnaround for this number 62 team. Craig Bush, Zach Magoon, Evan Snake, Craig Popgris, Chris Mozzie, Kaylee Sheets, Ace Blake, and Gustavo. Unfortunately, the 21 of Ralph Oberstadt is a couple laps down in 35th. That's going to be a hard hit for him in the point standings. Things are looking pretty rosy here for the 18 of Trevor Vaden. Vaden setting sail here with the lead. As James Gunner in 2nd, Skylar Taylor, she's going to jump up a lot of spots in the points here today. And honestly, might get the hardest charger award, as she's found her way up to 3rd, when most drivers have failed to make many moves throughout the field here today. Matthew Hubert in 4th, that's impressive. Wyatt Wilkinson in 5th. Chris K. Green in 6th. Jaden Anderson with a potentially record-setting finish here today in 7th. Joseph Hayes, Hamburgerson, Rand Kataz, Adam Cruz, and how about Chase Kovacic, who's still trying to keep his overall points lead here today. Got a lead lap, got the bonus points for that, and even somehow rallying to a 12th place finish when it looked like the best he could muster was about a top 20. Kovacic has just been slowly, methodically working his way through the field here, and 12th might be all they wrote for him, but still a lot better than 20th. Can't write the end of the story yet because there's still a lot of chances for a few other drivers to have mechanical failures here before that checkered flag waves. We've seen a few mechanical failures so far. Got a feel for Casey Klein, who started on the pole and now he's going to finish dead last. Seems like a bad omen for him whenever he gets a pole position. Something goes terribly, terribly wrong for that team. Well, it seems like Ace Blake is not going to take over the points lead here today, as his 1 point deficit to Chase Kovacic is going to fall by the wayside. Kovacic about 6 spots ahead of him. Those two are going to continue to duke it out for the top spots in the points battle. Gotta give kudos to this newcomer here. Joseph Hayes only made a couple starts so far, and yet he's looking like a prime contender in this ARCA series. Top 10 finish is nothing to scoff at, and even getting another spot here on Jaden Anderson puts him up to 7th. Heck, don't count Kovacic out of gaining a couple more spots here, as everything's not very well sorted. Adam Cruz losing some momentum here. It looks like Kovacic closing the gap. Kovacic nearly a full second faster on the last lap there. A move for 11th could really help Kovacic continue to hold that points lead. It's going to be hard to say that he definitely holds the point lead. I think Trevor Vaden with the win here today could put Trevor Vaden very close to taking over the points lead after today. But that's why you got to wait and see until all the points are tallied. Sometimes there's bonus points you forget about. Kovacic gets a top 12 or top 11. If he can get into the top 10, it's gonna be interesting to see. In the meantime, it has been the Trevor Vaden show, which we're very accustomed to seeing in our USA Trucks West. He is becoming a very, very well off driver in our series here, getting wins left and right. Just a couple more laps to the conclusion of this one. James Gunner with another stunner of a finish in that 32. Really starting to put all the pieces together for his ARCA campaign. Skylar Taylor, she's silently keeping it interesting here. She's going to be flirting with contending for a championship if she keeps it up. Wyatt Wilkinson has been solid since joining the series and continues to put on decent finishes here in that number 19 LFG Motorsports entry. Another battle is brewing as Joseph Hayes has caught up to the 6 here. He might be able to make the move. It's going to be close. Where is Kovacic? Did he have to pit again? No way. A mechanical failure, maybe? What happened to Kovacic? He had to pit. Why in the world did you have to pit? In the closing laps here, you had a top 12 finish going. Well, there goes the points lead for Kovacic. What little bit of points lead was going to be. It's kind of a head scratcher for the team on that one. Here we go. Last lap. We had the white flag waved already. This will be for the checkered as Trevor Vaden comes around the last segment of the track here today. Checkered flag waving. It's going to be Trevor Vaden bringing home the win and potentially the points lead. James Gunner in second, Skylar Taylor in third, Wilkinson comes home fourth, Chris K. Green fifth, Matthew Hubert, Joseph Hayes, Jaden Anderson, Hamburgerson, and Rand Kataz, with Adam Cruz, Craig Bush, Zach Magoon, Craig Popcris, Kaylee Sheets, Chris Mozzie, Ace Blake. We'll have to see where he lands in the points battle, but 17th, not ideal here today. 18th, 19th, all the way out of the top 30 falls Chase Kovacic. Man, what a heartbreak. Ralph Oberstadt's going to take position there, 32. Chase Kovacic, 33. Well, that is a wrap. LFG Motorsports gets yet another win here in the ARCA Series. Win number 2 for Trevor Vaden in the ARCA Series, as we've only got 8 races left to go to determine our inaugural ARCA winner, our inaugural ARCA champion. And those points are just going to keep getting shuffled up here. It's going to be hard to keep track of all the movers, comers, and goers. This ARCA series definitely one for the record books. And we do have Bridge to Cup Series action tomorrow from Talladega, which should be an exciting one. Mostly a wild card, but who knows what's going to happen. 10 races in the books for this ARCA campaign, 8 races to go. And congrats ultimately to Trevor Vaden on getting his second ARCA win in a dominant fashion. And thanks for everyone tuning in tonight too. And I know it was a road course race, so not a whole lot of racing action. But with every race, there's still a winner, and Trevor Vaden gets the job done for LFG Motorsports. Heartbreak for a couple of the other drivers that seemed like they could have a good finish on tap. Unfortunately, Chase Kovacic has an unexpected final pit stop there that forced him to fall outside the top 15. So point standings will be up here shortly. We'll have them posted on the website. And as for that, thank you everyone tuning in. Hopefully you can catch the Bridge to Cup action tomorrow night. That's a wrap. This is Jakester signing out. Everyone have a good night. Stay safe out there. We'll